Hello friends and welcome back to BISP Solutions. So in today's webinar we will dive into the process of invoice transaction creation and focus on manually creating a credit memo and automatic credit memo transaction creation in Oracle Fusion Finance. So let me introduce the invoice transaction. What is invoice transaction? So invoice transaction refers to the generation of invoices in the system. They are key documents that allow business to track sales and collections. Two common scenarios where credit memos are involved include manual and automatic creation. First is credit memo. Okay. So a credit memo, uh, I'll explain how to create the credit memo also. But a credit memo is a transaction that reduces the amount a customer owes. Okay, either because of an error in the original invoice or due to discounts or returns. It is the opposite of an invoice. So and then it's a so let's create one transaction and let me show you then how to create manually and automatic. Okay, so let's create the transaction. So go to our instance, go to our project, open our project, manage implementation project, open our project. Go to navigator, and receivable, click on billing and the task list and create transaction. So select the business unit. So we are creating invoice. Select the business unit, whatever business unit you have, choose your business unit. Transaction shows we have created as bill invoice. Transaction type also we have created. In my previous video I have explained everything how to create transaction type and transaction sources. You select here, that is why we have created. So come to transaction type, invoice, where you're going to ship the bill, give the name of the customer. So customer also we make, SP. So how the transaction process is, I'm explaining that. Fill on the mandatory fields. See the payment terms automatically it has taken the SPL immediate. Shift to name SPL customer and bill to name SPL customer. Billing name and shipping name we have chosen. Currency we have chosen. I'll go to the line. Now we'll move to the line. So line you see we can create n number of transaction and number of lines we can. In accounts payable we have limited number of lines, but in accounts receivable we have n number of lines. We can create as many as lines we want. Okay, so give the description. Goods. Description is mandatory, so we have to give the description. then how many quantity you have, your one quantity, two quantity, select the quantity, select the amount. 1 unit price is equals to $1,000. Now the amount will come automatically here. This, as we have filled this price, this amount has come automatic. Okay, now you see, you notice one thing. See the transaction total. Before it was not there. As we have filled the line amount, the header also has come. You see, transaction total. Now if we want to edit the distribution, we can edit. Save. Now you see the action button. If you want to add the distribution, you can edit. Let me show you. So you see, we have chosen receivable account and revenue account. So if you feel that we should take another account, we can choose from here. Okay, accounts receivable. You want to choose any account, you can choose. Okay, so this is how we can change the account also. So Oracle Fusion gives this system to us to change the account. Now if you want to edit, we can edit, otherwise cancel. And complete and review. Click on complete and review. Now you see the status is completed. Earlier it was showing incomplete. As I have clicked on the save button, it was showing incomplete, and as I have clicked on review and submit, now it is showing complete. Now if we suppose if we haven't made any credit memo till the time system will allow us to do the change. If you want to change anything, if you want to change, we'll click on incomplete and we can edit. Earlier we have seen here it was written incomplete, so we can click on incomplete, or we can do from here incomplete, and we can change the data, whatever data you want to change. And if you want to post to ledger, you can post to ledger also from here. So you can edit the transaction and you can post to ledger. Suppose you want to do the accounting, so you can click on post to ledger, and now see the accounting entries. We accounting. So these are the accounting entries: receivable, debit, and revenue is credit. So if you want to override, in the previous session we have seen how to override also in the AP configuration. I have explained about the override, how we can override it. So if you want to override, you can override it. Once it is overridden, the system will automatically pass the entry, the correct entry system will automatically pass. Now we'll create the credit memo. Click on done. Click on task list, create transaction, and this time we are creating transaction classes credit memo. Choose the business unit, take your business unit, select the source. This time it is SPL credit memo. Transaction type also we have created credit memo. Now go to lines. Give the name, on which name you want to give the bill, so the name of the customer. So billing name, suppose this is our customer, SPL customer, so this, on this name the bill will go, and ship to name also it is taken, whose name it is going to ship and what name you want to print on the bill. So ship name and bill to name. You see, system is generating automatically the number bill to site, ship to site. This already we have created, that is why it is generating the numbers. I'll go to line. Suppose the credit memo and debit memo we do for the correction, so we'll give the description is correction, and suppose the quantity we are taking 1 and we have minus 1000. See the amount in the header section it has come. So I'll show you the entries also. Click on complete entry view. Note the transaction number 10,001. It is important to search the transaction number. If you want to search the transaction, the number is mandatory. So now our status is completed. We can cancel it. Once it is completed, we can cancel it. Now we'll see the transaction. So now what we are going to do, we are going to apply this credit memo on our standard transaction. That invoice we have created, we are going to apply this credit memo on it. So click on cancel, and now yes, transaction number we have noted down. Now we'll create one more transaction, and in that transaction I'll explain you how to apply the credit memo on the standard transaction. Go to navigator, click on receivable and account receivable, and click on task list. You see the option manage credit memo application. Click on it. Transaction number, search the transaction, our credit memo. So from this transaction we want to reduce the amount. Suppose click on the transaction number and click on add open receivables. Here we'll search our transaction number once again, and if you know the amount you can fill. The transaction number is mandatory, so you fill yours. Okay, click on search. Now add, click on add. First select the transaction, now click on add. Click on done. So this is how we can apply credit memo transaction on invoice. Now I'll show you the transaction and I'll show you the entries also. And we'll see now the transaction we're going to see. Click on navigator, and to see the transaction, go to receivable, billing, and go to task list, and here manage transaction. Click on manage transaction, and now we are going to search our transaction. So business unit, choose our business unit. This is our business unit. Click on OK. Transaction number, start with 1 and click on search. So click on this one. It's today's date. Click on invoice. You see credit memo. This is our credit memo, or this is our standard invoice. Okay, click on this standard invoice number, transaction number, and I'll show you. Click on action, and now we'll see the details. View balance detail, and you will see. So our original amount was $1,000, and we created the credit memo of 1,000. So now the balance is 00. So this is how we can apply our credit memo to the standard invoice, standard transaction. I hope you understood. Click on done. And now we'll see the automatic credit memo transaction creation. Click on cancel. Now the next task is automatic credit memo transaction creation. So this task we have completed, and now we'll move to our automatic credit memo transaction. So this process is typically used when specific criteria or events trigger the creation of a credit memo automatically, such as when a customer is entitled to a discount, or there is an automated return process in place. Okay, so, we'll set up the rules, then we will navigate to receivable, and then we will set some parameters like customer profile, transaction sources we will set, and then we will apply. So let's take an example. If a company has a policy where customer receive a 10% credit memo if an order is delivered late, the system can automatically generate this credit memo once the order late status is confirmed. So now we'll see the process to create the automatic credit memo transaction. For that, go to receivables workbench, go to navigator, click on receivables, click on billing. We'll create transaction. Transaction class, invoice, business unit, transaction source. Since we are creating invoice, we'll take invoice. Transaction type it is invoice. Select bill to name and ship to name. Go to lines, enter the amount. Suppose the quantity this time also 1, and enter the amount 5,000. This time in standard invoice we are creating of 5,000. Earlier we have created 1,000, and then we created the credit memo. So credit memo, and we have seen the balance was 0. Now again we are creating the invoice of 5,000, and we'll apply one credit memo on it. See, every mandatory field is filled or not. Click on complete and review. Complete and review is the status will come. Enter the line number. Okay, what is left? Okay, description is left. So again I am giving goods, and complete and review. You see the status is complete. Now what I'll do, we will reduce $2,000 from this transaction. Click on cancel, and click on task list. This is credit transaction. See, we are seeing automatic creation of the credit memo. Click on credit transaction. Credit transaction is equal to credit memo, so don't get confused. The credit transaction is equal to credit memo we are going to create. Search for our invoice number. So our invoice number was if I search, click on search, this many amounts are there. We'll choose the one which we need. Click on task list, create transaction, one, three. Let me search our standard invoice. So many numbers are appearing same, so select the transaction source and try to search our actually this section is not enabled. So this tab is not coming, that is why we are Let me try once. Let me find here transaction number and the amount. Transaction, click on credit transaction number, that was not saved or what? Okay. So coming also and not showing also some things. Let me create once again the standard invoice with a different number, then I'll show you. Okay, so we'll create one more transaction. So create transaction and then SPM transaction, SPL invoice, transaction type, okay, bill to name, search for SPL. Goods, quantity 1 and editing 6,000. 6,000 has come here. I have to note the transaction number. Complete and review. So transaction number is 1001. Save. It is complete now. Cancel it and go to task list, credit transaction against So now actually there was some mistake in the number, so now we have again created the standard invoice with the amount of 6,000. And how much we want to deduct? Say we want to deduct 2,000. Okay, transaction type, SPL credit memo. Today's date, no reference, and we want to deduct 2,000. We have selected the standard invoice and the percentage will automatically come. Enter the amount, minus 2,000. You see the percentage is 33. How much percent we are deducting? 33.33 percentage. So this is how we can create the credit memo. So the current balance you see 4,000. 6,000 was our original amount. We have created the credit memo of 2,000 minus 2,000, negative 2,000, and you see the remaining balance is 4,000. So this, in this way we can create the automatic. This is the automation. Okay, now we'll see the entries also, complete interview. You can see here also minus 2,000. Unit price was 6,000. The percentage is this, and we'll search for the transaction. Go to task lists, manage transaction. Search business unit. Business unit, transaction number was 1001. Search for the transaction. Click on this transaction number. And now in action. In the from there also we would have seen, but now I have to bring you here, and we can see the balance detail. Okay, now see the balance detail. You see original amount was 6,000. We have created the credit memo of negative $2,000 and the balance is 4,000. So this way we can create the standard invoice manually. Standard invoice we have to create manually, but credit memo we can create directly in the standard invoice. So for today we have completed our task, so we'll meet on the next session. Understanding both manual and automatic credit memo creation process is crucial for handling receivable effectively. So manual process offers flexibility, while automatic setups save time and reduce the need of human intervention in a repetitive task. So friends, thank you so much for joining this webinar. Let's meet on the next session. Thank you.